Hey K-popers, and welcome back to Hallyu. As we continue our look back on the year that was 2021 all throughout this month, today's deep dive is all about the biggest news stories of the year. So I'll be counting down what in my opinion were the 10 biggest stories, and then going through a bunch of other stories that you might have actually forgotten happened this year. Before we get started, I want to quickly thank Hallyu's honorary producers. If you want to show off your bias group here, share your pics in weekly videos, and join a vibrant Discord community with watch parties, custom emoji, and more, all you need to do is support Hallyu on Patreon. Now, before I jump in, we're going to be moving fairly fast through these stories, and some of them do warrant a trigger warning, so I'm just going to give it in advance because the biggest stories do tend to be the heaviest ones as well. Alright, so let's get started at number 10, which is NCT or WayV's Lucas. If you remember, in late summer, accounts of girls who had been intimately involved with Lucas began to surface online, and the picture that they painted was not good. The accounts were consistent in describing how Lucas would use them to buy luxury gifts for him, go on extravagant dates, and subsequently gaslight them about the nature of their relationship. To me, what was most damning about this though was SM's response, because in 2021 obviously there were a ton of false allegations for various things thrown at idols online, but in this case SM did not come out to dispute anything, and in fact both SM and Lucas gave statements to the effect that he was sorry and deeply reflecting. And obviously this has had a huge impact on Lucas's career because he was in fact absent from the NCT 2021 promotions. Alright, moving on to number 9, we have GOT7 leaving JYP. This story really started 2021 off with a bang. In the first week of 2021, we got news that Yugyeom was actually leaving JYP to go to AOMG, and just days later the bombshell dropped that the entire group were in fact leaving JYP Entertainment. And a quick side note, this is a really unique situation in K-pop because not only are there still discussions about group activities down the line, but they actually own the rights to the name GOT7 still. In the meantime though, of course, we've seen the members sign on to different labels like AOMG and Sublime, and we've been blessed with a lot of solo releases from JB, Jackson, Yugyeom, and others. But either way, starting off the year with one of the biggest boy groups leaving a Big Four label is certainly explosive. Moving on to number 8, we have the Kwanmina saga. Now, as I said before, I don't like reporting on this too much because this is definitely a case of someone who needs to just get off social media forever, but there was a lot that happened here. Obviously, dating back to last year, Mina has been struggling severely with her mental health, attempting to take her own life on several occasions, and even posting the attempts on social media. In 2021, it's been a constant ebb and flow for Mina, from pledges to get off social media, to demanding confrontations with Jimin, to finding healing in a shamanistic ritual and talking about her boyfriend, and more. And to top it all off, we also found out a major source of Mina's past trauma this year, that being her horrific sexual assault when she was just 14 years old. Thankfully, as we saw recently, Mina did get justice as the accused was finally arrested, but only time will tell if that's enough to actually set Mina permanently on the road to recovery. Alright, moving on to number 7, the bullying scandals. From February through to March and beyond, a change in how content was ranked and displayed on a major SNS platform led to a plethora of wild accusations being seen by the masses and causing chaos at every label's PR department. As a reminder of how far-reaching this went, in just the first week this affected Stray Kids' Hyunjin, G-Idol's Soojin, Everglow's Asha, 17's Mingyu, Luna's Chu, ITZY's Leah, and April. Now, some of these allegations were handled better than others, and some were far less truthful than others too. In the case of Asha, Mingyu, Chu, and Leah, there was nothing to substantiate the allegations made, and in time investigations proved that and everybody moved on. As we know though, Hyunjin did take a hiatus to reflect on past actions, and of course for April, the allegations became a trial by media from the accuser Hyunju, though that has since stopped because legal proceedings are still ongoing for that case. But of course the biggest situation here was with G-Idol's Soojin, and in my humble opinion, it didn't have to be big. If you remember, both Cube and Soojin chose the nuclear option when it came to the allegations, with Soojin publicly stating that she would leave G-Idol if they were proven true. And, well, she did leave the group, so take that however you will. Obviously, G-Idol shifted to solo activities this year, but the group is returning without Soojin in the new year with a new album. Okay, on to the 6th biggest story of the year, which is Seungri. The Burning Molka scandal has been dragging on for years, but in 2021 the case finally came to a resolution. In the weeks and months leading up to the trial, there was a lot of publicity, including Dispatch blowing the lid off of some damning conversations between Seungri and his associates. So after transfers to military court proceedings and a whole bunch of other legal proceedings, Seungri was finally sentenced to 3 years in prison. The sentence came as he was found guilty of 9 different criminal counts, including fraud charges, drug charges, gang activity, and prostitution-related charges. And to add insult to injury, in the sentencing, the judge publicly stated that Seungri's reputation with the public is very low. Now moving on to story number 5, Mnet's voting manipulation. Now late last year we did find out the real rosters for who should have formed X1, IOI, and IZ*ONE, but this year was the year of Idol School. Idol School, of course, was the Mnet survival show that created the group Famous 9, and there were repeated news stories throughout the year that broke as this travesty unfolded in the court system. In June, it came out that the idol school's chief producer would be serving a 1-year prison sentence for his role in the manipulation, showing just how bad this really was. Days later, we also found out that Lee Hae-in was the true winner of Idol School in a shocking revelation that showed just how bad the manipulation really was. The #1 winner was bumped so far down the rankings that she didn't even make the final group of Fromis 9. And the hits just kept coming, as the broadcasting subcommittee revealed in their statement that, quote, "In a survival-style music show that is selecting girl group members, from episodes 2 to 11, the rankings were manipulated 233 times in total." Idol School only started with 41 participants, so 21 manipulations per episode on average is absolutely obscene. Mnet is allegedly receiving sanctions for this atrocity, but none have been announced yet to my knowledge, and Boys Planet has already been announced at the Mamas, so my hopes are pretty low there personally. Alright, I think we need a feel-good story right about now, and lucky for us, the 4th biggest story of the year is BTS. The Bangtan Boys had no shortage of spectacular headlines this year. Butter and Permission to Dance dominated the Western charts, holding the #1 spot on the coveted Hot 100 more than any other artist in 2021. And that was just on the music charts. Let's not forget that McDonald's revealed a teaser schedule that culminated with the BTS meal being an actual thing that happened. Perhaps my favorite moment though was when BTS literally recorded a performance of Permission to Dance inside the United Nations General Assembly, which is just unfathomable. And of course, BTS smashed records with their 4-night Permission to Dance on Stage tour in California, as well as their usual cleanup at the end of year awards, both in America and in Korea. What a banner year it was for them, and I cannot wait to see what 2022 brings for the boys. Grammy anyone? Alright, moving on to the 3rd biggest story of 2021, COVID-19 continuing to disrupt K-pop and the world. First and foremost, of course, is the effect that it has had on our idols' physical and mental health, as we started to see many symptomatic cases, most notably with BTOB's Minhyuk. If you remember, Minhyuk had a live where he revealed that he was very ill and hospitalized for 2 weeks. He lost 12 pounds in that time and was unaware of his surroundings thanks to a very high fever. Among dozens and dozens of other idols and celebrities who tested positive, we also had Enhypen and N.Flying who were both seriously impacted by outbreaks, with the entire group of N.Flying having COVID at one point. And of course, beyond the health aspect, it's made for a tough year in many ways. As fans, we've been desperate for live events and concerts, and even now with Omicron, we see planned tour dates like Very Very's date in Ohio becoming more fragile by the day. And for all the 2021 rookies, it's tough too, because all these new groups have never performed in front of a live audience. Music shows and other events have all been empty, and I'm sure that these groups are just dying to meet their fans in person. Alright, now for the 2nd biggest story of 2021, GFriend disbanding. This was by far the most shocking news story of the year for me, as I couldn't imagine that a veteran girl group with so much talent and proven success would disband completely. Seemingly out of nowhere, we got the news that all members were not renewing with Source, and shortly thereafter the confirmation from Sowon and others that it was the end of GFriend. It was completely out of the blue, and I know for me personally, in a weird way it left me feeling like I didn't get a chance to say goodbye properly to the group. And the really tough part for fans is that though we do have VVG on the horizon, we still know very little about what actually happened behind the scenes. Was there disagreement among members? Was HYBE not letting the girls have the same freedom they had under Source with their previous contracts? Unfortunately, it's all still a big mystery. And now for the biggest news story of 2021, and I'm sure a lot of you have guessed it by now, it's Brave Girls' historic revival. On February 23rd, 2021, this live stage mix of Brave Girls performing Rollin' for their massive military following was posted to YouTube, and it went viral. Within days, it had garnered millions of views, and 4 days after the video went up, Brave Girls passed IU to earn their first ever #1 song on the Bugs chart. And what makes this story so amazing is that it wasn't like other viral sensations that pop up and then disappear within a week. Brave Girls really did just keep on rolling. They returned to music shows and won their first ever music show for a song that was 4 years old. They broke the viewership record when they went on New Quiz on the Block, and of course the perfect all kills. In one fell swoop, Brave Girls broke the record for most consecutive perfect all kills by a girl group by passing 131 consecutive hours at #1 all over the charts, and they passed twice for the most perfect all kills for a girl group with 198. And of course, this breathed fresh air into a group that was on the verge of disbanding, as we got 2 spectacular comebacks in Chimat Baram and After We Ride. I really do hope that everyone cherishes this story, because as someone who's been a K-pop fan since 2011, let me tell you, a viral sensation with this many facets to make the story so compelling really doesn't come around that often. And that's why, for me, Brave Girls are the undisputed #1 story of the year. Now, I promised to go over a bunch of other stories too, so here is a rapid fire set of stories that you may have forgotten actually happened in 2021. Back in January, Twice member Chewy's parents had their house robbed of memorabilia by a hired staff member who was soon caught with the stolen goods then returned to the family. Elke and Soren have both left CLC this year, with several statements coming out that confirm Cube Entertainment has no future group plans for CLC and is keeping them in the dungeon. Chris Wu faced very serious and credible allegations of rape after inviting an 18-year-old to his house under the guise of auditioning for an MV role, and was soon arrested by Beijing police after an investigation. Wanwan actually did the thing and reunited on stage at the 2021 Mamas and delivered incredible performances of Energetic, Burn It Up, and Beautiful. CL and Ailey both tragically lose their moms days apart, prompting CL to release the song Wish You Were Here. Hybe acquires Ithaca Holdings, the Scooter Braun label that manages several huge Western artists including Justin Bieber. Coordinated efforts to run countless smear campaigns against Twice are finally uncovered, vindicating the concerns that Onces have had for years. IOI reunites on a special live broadcast for their 5th anniversary, bringing back fond memories for everyone. Former TVXQ and JYJ member Park Yu-chun is banned from the entertainment industry by a court injunction as he is investigated for contract fraud among other charges. And last but certainly not least, Girls' Generation makes their first 8-member appearance in years as they join New Quiz on the Block for a very special episode. Alright, so those are the stories I thought were the biggest in 2021. What stories would have made your own top 10 list? Be sure to let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching this deep dive, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss all the great K-pop content coming your way right here at Hallyu. This has been Deep Dive number 85 of the biggest news of 2021.